What's wrong with baseball's Hall of Fame?
We don't have that much time in
It
this
doesn't
segment.
have Pete Rose, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds in it?
Dan Lebitard said it stripped away his 7 MLB or MVP seasons away from his stats and said, here's his stats. And he had like 358 stolen bases and 400 and something home runs. He's like, nobody's ever done that either.
Barry needs to be a Hall of Famer.
Barry's the greatest player of all time. I don't know why we're arguing this.
He needs to be a Hall of Famer.
It's all very dumb. Speaking of people who need to be Hall of Famers.
Gatekeepers.
Les Miles, former LSU coach, is now suing LSU because of vacated wins, because his vacated wins, and remember, we talked about this last week with Mike Leach.
My new life's work, besides raising my children.
A 599 or 59.7% winning percentage all time with Mike Leach.
5.996.
Okay, so
he's
even less
0.004% away from being in the Hall of Fame.
He's a win away.
Yeah. And it would have been the bowl game had he not died. Think about that. It would have been the bowl game they won had he not died. They still would have won that game because they were playing in like the farts.com bowl. And if he gets that one win, Mike Leach is in.
On that same token, LSU vacated 37 wins.
Dang, bro.
37 wins. They are announced as part of the penalties for LSU's football men's basketball programs by the NCAA's Independent Accountability Resolution Process. If there's not a more dumb, made-up thing than that in the NCAA, my God, that's an impressive amount of just stupid.
That's a fact, Jack.
37 vacated wins will drop Les Miles' overall record from 145-73, otherwise known as just under a 67% all-time winning percentage, which, good God, down to 597.
0.003.
Percentage away from 600 with at least 100 games to qualify for the College Football Hall of Fame.
Dang.
He helped LSU to a national title and won 2 SEC titles while also coaching at Oklahoma State and Kansas.
He took over the Kansas football. That should get you in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Even though he did go 0-9 his last year at Kansas.
It happens. But again, I will say this, as I said for Mike Leach, as I said for Les Miles. Or say this for Les Miles, as I said for Mike Leach. You cannot tell a story of college football without Les Miles.
I think you can.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't think he's not nearly as influential as Mike Leach is. I
feel like if you win a national title,
Les Miles was a really good coach.
Larry Coker.
But Larry Coker, Butch Davis, you get some questionable coaches that have taken over juggernauts.
Sure.
And been able to be really damn good. It wasn't like Les Miles walked into a bear cupboard.
No.
He took over for Nick Saban, who won a national title. And then 2 years later, he won a national title. Ed Orgeron won a national title at LSU. Now, Ed O did it on the back of recruits that were brought in by Les Miles, though. Right?
Les Miles went 114-34.
LSU is and was a powerhouse in the world of college football. And Les Miles maintained that. He was a really good coach there. But I think, like, when you talk about being able to tell the story of college football, I look at guys like Mike Leach, and he reinvented the way we think about throwing the football. He reinvented the way that we think about offensive linemen with massive splits and creating bigger windows for your quarterback to throw through, putting defenses in a pickle on, all right, are we going to still line up the same way, or are we going to allow them to actually run the football in the air raid? Because Mike Leach always said it. He's like, we'll run the football. If you give us the numbers to run the football, we're going to do it. But he had a way of keeping teams honest. And Mike Leach was something that I don't think college football will ever have again because of the personality he had, the person he was, and what he meant to the game. Les Miles was a recruiting machine that dabbled in the gray area more than
Oh God, yeah.
anybody else.
He was also 5-1 in
But
New
he
Year's
did it.
Six with the national title.
Yeah, he's a really damn good football coach, and he is Hall of Fame.
That's a Hall of Fame caliber coach.
He is Hall of Fame worthy, and he deserves a spot in there. And I think Les Miles should be in the College Football Hall of Fame. I mean,
5 top 10 finishes, including a first and a second.
You just mentioned it, 114 and 34 at LSU. And then he went to Kansas, where he went 3 and 18 at Kansas.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not great. That's not a great.
Yeah,
it's not a great run by any measure.
He did take 3 years off of the old head coaching there, though.
Yeah, because of the NCAA investigation that got his wins vacated. From
Why
him.
aren't the losses vacated?
Because you lost anyways.
But
I don't know. You should vacate the losses though too.
That seems like
and every game should be counted as a no contest for you and a win for another program. Yeah.
Because if that happened, his winning percentage would be back over 60%.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to deal with this.
We need to find some teams that were pop some NCAA violations so Mike Leach gets a couple wins too. Get him just one more win. Just one.
Literally,
just one team
one
that cheated and you're like, bam, popped it. Get that win to old Pirate. Get him in the Hall of Fame.
Not too difficult.